Hey, good people, how you doing? Welcome to episode 14 of 254 Rugby. A lot to talk about in this episode. We are going to have a look at the Simbas' first leg performance in the Elgon Cup against Uganda and Nairobi last weekend. We're also going to talk about the Lionesses and their outing in Accra, Ghana during the Rugby Africa Women Sevens, and of course the sponsorship restructuring for Shujaa. My name is Michael Kwambo, and as always, joining me is Walter Orangi. Hi, Walter. How you doing?
Hi, Michael. I'm all right. Just buzzing with excitement post Elgon Cup match day one. Yeah, pretty much nothing much to say about that.
Absolutely, nothing much to say about that. But remember, like we said, there's a lot to talk about in today's episode. We've just had the announcement moments ago of Shujaa receiving a cash boost from Sportpesa, their shirt sponsor. I believe it is a sponsorship to the tune of 84 million Kenyan shillings. I'm just trying to get a clip of that. If wow, today I'm on point, Walter. I'm on point. I'm on point. I'm on point. I am on point. There it is. Shujaa receiving 84,150,000 shillings, if I'm not wrong, from Sportpesa. Maybe you can talk more about this deal.
Well, Michael, I at this point in time I don't have the inner bits and the inner details of the restructuring of the Sportpesa deal with the Kenya Sevens team. However, face value has it that this year the national team is going to receive at least 33 million shillings as they head into the HSBC World Rugby 7 Series. Now, I mean, looking at this deal, I mean, it's a timely boost for one because the national team has had quite some hard few days. Speaking of sponsorships, I'm hopeful that the restructuring has made sure that they are covered post season because most of the noise that we've been hearing has all been about post season away from the World Rugby Sevens duties or the HSBC Challenger Series duties. That's when there has been a bit of noise in terms of remuneration from the national team. And also, hopefully, this sponsorship deal that they've signed or have agreed to today between Kenya Rugby Union and Sportpesa really helps the team now get into the World Series, knowing that well they are financially sorted out. Because I believe that most of these are definitely going to be cash incentives to the players in terms of their monthly pays, most probably maybe team insurance, and you do have all these traveling needs that you need as a team, and everything that really in terms of preparations. Remember, the World Rugby Seven Series is a different animal altogether. You can't go there half baked and expect results, and hopefully maybe this now will help the Kenya Sevens team. I mean, in many ways, stabilize their ship and all that. But also, hopefully, this allows Kenya Rugby to open up more doors in terms of corporate partnerships, looking at a possibility of probably signing more because the brand, as it is a world class brand. Ideally, this is a team that is about to embark on. Travels across the world. If I'm not wrong, probably going to be doing at least all the continents. We're going to America. We're going to Europe. We're going to South. I mean, that is the Australia leg. We have that is the Oceania leg. We do have the African leg. We have Dubai, and these are world renowned destinations. And this is a brand that really deserves more than what we are really looking at or what we have been used to. So it's a wake up call, and I believe it's an opportunity, as I said, Michael, to have this team now buckled down together in terms of finance, knowing that they are very well catered for and now can embark on delivering on pitch. So it's a very, very good addition to what we currently have.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've just gotten a glimpse of the press release, and it also says that the Morans are set to benefit from the sponsorship, with the money also set to cater, like you said, for salaries, for travel costs of several members of the technical bench, nutrition, and so on and so forth. Um, Sportpesa CEO Ronald Karauri is also quoted as saying he is expressing a long-term vision beyond the 2 years, and he highlights Sportpesa's commitment to nurturing talent through the National Seven Circuit. He talks about his goal to see the sport of rugby becoming monetized. He calls upon more sponsors to support improved salaries for players. Um, and he just gives, I think, the breakdown that you are talking about. He gives it and says last year the sponsorship was 22 million. Now that there's a 2-year contract with 33 million for the first year and 49.5 for the next, he believes that Sportpesa can help monetize this sport and encourage the players to keep working hard as things continue to improve. And we will be looking forward to an improvement. What do you think?
Yes, Michael, I strongly want to echo and support Captain Karauri in, calling forward more sponsors to join the game. It's really something in it because the brand is there, the product is there. All we need now is to make sure that we market this product in the best way possible. And no better place for you to market yourselves than the World Rugby stage, the HSBC 7 Series. We fought really so hard for us to get back onto that World 7 Series. And I believe, and I speak for all the fans and everyone else who supports Kenya Rugby Sevens and the Shujaa, we really want them to succeed because they are the guys who put us in the pinnacle of the world. Remember, Michael, beyond athletics, which is an individual sports, team sports in terms of Kenya and the teams that are able to compete against the world and meet these other renowned powerhouses in terms of rugby is the Kenya Sevens team. So there is no better product to rally around. And my rallying call is really to look at these companies and these corporates that are established globally. We have a product here that can sell your message, can sell your product, can push your brands across the world, and no better place for you to come and join than the Kenya Sevens team. Because locally, I mean, beyond athletics, which other sports can you rank above Kenya Sevens? I don't think there's any, Michael. So it's good we give Kenya Rugby Union and the Shujaa team their flowers when we are able to, and it's important. They are world renowned athletes. They're getting ready to compete against the world. They're going against the Olympic champions, the likes of France, going up against Argentina, World Rugby 7 Series champions from last season. We're going up against the likes of New Zealand, Australia, and it's important for us to be ready. And we need each and every one of the support that is available out there to come on board.
Absolutely. Obviously, that support is much needed, and we do wish Shujaa all their best in their upcoming assignments. We'll be looking forward to follow them, to track them, and to support them throughout the season as they play in the core status that they were looking for after having been relegated at the close of the it was the season ending 2022-2023. Now let's go to another sevens team, and it is the women's sevens team.
I'd say it's generally
This team has really been performing well. Dennis Mwanja is the man in charge of the Lionesses. Walter, we're just going to begin with a brief interview that I had with Dennis Mwanja. Let's just listen to his comments before digging into a conversation about the Lionesses. Let's go.
in summary a successful outing because the targets were met. Yeah, the team imekuwa na I'd say generally in summary a successful outing because the targets were met, were set out. We didn't hit the target we wanted, but at least we qualified. The way to the qualification was tough and tricky because the pool played against the hosts Ghana were plucky for us, and Madagascar were tricky because we were not in our rhythm. The players the tried and tested players were the ones who were in America. That is Grace, Stella, Judy, and Christabel were in America. So they were the core team. So they did not click after the first game. And I kept my faith in them because I know they're the ones that have played in the top level, in the Challenger and also in the repechage. It paid off because on the second day, meeting Ghana again, we were already on our rhythm. But also same as again against Uganda. Winning combination cannot be changed. So I kept my faith in them. I ended up beating Uganda and reaching the finals. And so our target, definitely, to be honest, was to win this. We had set our sights on beating everyone. So they want results really misled people because I was reading social media and also looking at comments and things. People thought we're going to struggle, but as a coach of this team, I know the capabilities of the girls. Yeah, we know each other. We know very well what we can do, what we're capable of doing. And this year we've promised each other. This year is going to be a very awesome year. It's when we break and go through to the next level. But when we meet South Africa next time, there's no escape. This is the introduction of Faith, who's a new discovery. It's also a shot in the arm for the team. With such young players being blooded into the game, it assures us of a very realistic future. Look at Phoebe, who's recovering from surgery. She's 23. Faith is 23. So look at that age, 23 years, getting in. And also there's Nelly Chikombe, who's also coming back from maternity. So, and all of them are 6 feet and above. So look at the future for us. So we look forward to the Challenger, the venues. It's an open secret. South Africa will be given a double leg. And it will be awesome to capture them, arrest them at home in their backyard in front of their children and their parents.
Dennis Mwanza not mincing his words there. He has a lot of faith in the Lionesses, and obviously they are Lionesses, and he is breeding them to be ferocious like the proverbial lioness. But anyway, the performance in Ghana and Dennis Mwanza's words. Your take?
Well, I've listened to Dennis keenly there, and I've just picked a few points and a few things. Dennis does follow social media so well, and I mean, looking at how coaches and people who are in these national teams mostly perceive social media. When sometimes they are winning, the positives come. When they're losing, the negatives will always be there. So I'm keen to understand how he balances between getting told that they're I can't choose the words, but sometimes when they're being told they're not good enough, and sometimes when they're told how good they are. Now, that aside, Michael, I watched the ladies play in Ghana, and yeah, he's very right and he's very spot on. Day one was a mixed bag of results, 61-0 versus Mauritius. Then it was a close call between themselves and Ghana. It was also a very close call between themselves and Madagascar. Definitely needed a day two response, and he has the ability. The girls within that camp currently have the ability to soul search overnight and decide if they want to play or they want to go back home empty-handed. And that is exactly what happened on match day two. They came out firing, all guns blazing, came out and beat Ghana, which was a very convincing quarterfinal match and quite impressive there. Went on to the semi where they met Uganda, a 19-0 comfortable win for the Kenya Lionesses. And it was now down to the final, the proverbial final match of the Rugby Africa Women's tournament has always seen Kenya take on South Africa, and it was no different this time round. But I was quite impressed by how Kenya started. They started off quite strongly. That South Africa team, Michael, was there for the taking. And if you did watch that game, we just needed one line break, one final pass to just stick in so that we can score. And the game would have ended 14-17, or probably if we would have converted, it would have ended 14-19. And would have been a good result and a good outing for the ladies. And I mean, let me talk about the difference between the two and the gap between South Africa and Kenya. Over the years, it has been a very interesting battle because we've always met them in the final, and they've really beaten us for quite some time now. They've denied us opportunities to go to the Olympics. They've denied us an opportunity to go to the HSBC World Rugby Seven Series as a core side. We've had battles with South Africa, which over the years, I can say that the gap has consistently been breached by Kenya. Kenya has really tried in terms of developing, and credit to Coach Mwanja and, of course, his technical team. The team is slowly transitioning away from the likes of Philadelphia, Orlando, and company. And now you have very good girls who've come through. You heard him talk about a group of girls who are coming through who are 6 feet. And it's important that he has quite a solid and a deep squad for his development in terms of the goals that he wants and what he wants to achieve. And a sneaky line there towards the end when he was talking about going to beat South Africa in their own backyard. I would love that for the Lionesses, and it's very important, Michael. But before I step aside from all this, the Ghana trip had something in the bag for the Kenya Lionesses, and that was qualification for the Challenger Series, an opportunity and a route for the teams that are looking to qualify for the World Rugby Seven Series. And it's sort of where Kenya Sevens were last year. um, and I know the ladies were also in the Challenger Series last year, but lost. I think it was in the final leg. There was an opportunity for them to maybe qualify for the final lot that were going to qualify for the World Rugby Seven Series. But second chance, second attempt. Now, looking at as Kenya Shujaa has already received a sponsorship package from Sportpesa. Here's an opportunity for these women, the lionesses, to be pushed, Michael, through us, through the media. And I mean, we need to really project these girls in very good light, as they are also looking to be part and parcel of the conversation around big sponsorship deals and all that, Michael. So my strong feeling is our ladies now need our support, 101% in terms of looking for corporate partnerships, and maybe even asking the likes of Sportpesa to also look at these girls and see that there is quite a lot of potential, because at the end of the day, the brand that we are building is all about marketing, and I don't think there's anything else that Sportpesa would want. And it would be an opportunity for them to be on the World Series, Challenger Series, a global event going across multiple cities across the world. Another opportunity, a mini World Rugby Seven Series. I know the games are not as many as the World Rugby Seven Series, but nonetheless, an opportunity for a brand to be on the shirt of the ladies as they move around the world is an opportunity that any brand that is strong out there in terms of wanting to be viewed as a part and parcel of Kenya Rugby, and also to be viewed as one of the brands that are building sports and doing some good corporate social responsibility activities. I don't think there's any better opportunity than this one to go with the ladies.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree with you more. The ladies, as always, perpetually flying the flag of Kenya high, never disappointing. And the one thing that impresses me is that in their repeated encounters with South Africa, their standards have been improving and they have been narrowing the gap on the South Africans. And I'm sure the South Africans are paying much attention. And I do believe that if ever we are going to be at par with South Africa in rugby, I think it's in the women's game. And those strides are being seen day in, day, whatever they say, day in, day out. But they're being seen, and they need all the support. I agree with you. And to all Kenyans of goodwill, all corporates of goodwill, I mean, there's an opportunity here. There is a platform here for you in the form of the Lionesses. You will not go wrong in supporting them. This is a very driven group, a very focused group. They know what they want, they know what the sport can do for them, and they know what value they bring to the table. And as they prepare, I do believe the Dubai Sevens invitational category is up next for them as they prepare for the Challenger Series in 2025. We do wish them all the best, and once again, just to congratulate the entire team led by the captains, Sheila Chajira, Grace Adhiambo, the team management that includes Camille Oluwayo and the likes of Dennis Mwanja, the head coach. I mean, they've perpetually flown the flag high, and we are proud of them. Now, there still is more rugby action to talk about, and this time round, it is
finally poised after the opening round in Nairobi on Saturday, 9 November 2024.
Well, that was my sound on the piece that I'd done just for the YouTube channel. But anyway, the whole point is to say that Elgon Cup is finally poised after leg one. I know Jerome Parvota has named the traveling party for the second leg in Kampala this coming weekend. But how about we go through the first leg before talking about what we can look forward to in the second leg? That will include also like talking about the squad selection. I think for me, Walter, I'll start and then I'll let you go. I think the biggest undoing for the Simbas, and it's something that we seem to have struggled with over the past year or so, right from last year's Elgon Cup, come Victoria Cup, is getting into a rhythm, getting into a semblance of fluidity. And my take is that we are playing test rugby after a very long time, because in November last year, when the Simbas headed out to Kampala for the Victoria Cup and Elgon Cup, they were playing rugby for the first time in a year as the Simbas. And again, it's happening. And at the back of my mind, my thought was, why are we having the Elgon Cup as a preseason tournament, really? Because for many of these players, this is the first 15th match they're playing since the close of the 15th season. Remember, the Kenyan 15th season ended in April. There was the Super Series, of course. So that was maybe another 4 or 5 weeks extra. And then from there, you have been inactive, especially if you do not take part in the sevens version of the game. And therefore, the onus is upon the custodians of the game to, I think, rethink the timing of the Elgon Cup. It used to be good when it was at the close of the domestic seasons, both in Kenya and Uganda, when you get players performing optimally. And again, rethink it in terms of, again, at that period where you're able to get more games for these individuals. Having said that, on Saturday, Kenya's biggest undoing away from that lack of fluidity, lack of having a rhythm, was their discipline. Whoa, their penalty count was astronomical. And the Ugandans simply failed to punish it. And I shudder to think what will happen in the return leg in Kampala. Those are my thoughts. Now, to you, Walter.
Yes, Michael. The Elgon Cup, I was there. I was physically there. I rode the emotions, both halves. And I can strongly say that you've pointed out a few things there in terms of fluidity of play, the identity of play. This was something that I had raised, or we had raised actually prior to the game itself, in terms of talking about the identity that the Kenya Simbas play with, and also entirely what brand of rugby are we expecting to actually go to the stadium and watch. And that was one of the biggest questions I had. And I had an opportunity to actually watch Kenya for a couple of minutes. The kickoff wasn't. I mean, we scored fast. We we took our chances early. We were ahead early. However, we were pegged back, and that first half should not have ended the way it had ended, because the penalty count in that first half, Michael, would have meant that Uganda should have gone into the break with a bigger lead, and so entirely, the Kenya Simbas, like you said, have players who've come back from pre-season. Actually, not even pre-season, Michael. These guys have come back, probably trained 2 or 3 weeks for their respective clubs,
So
and then
literally,
been
they come
called
back
up.
from off season.
Yes, it's actually off season. So they've come from off season, been called up now to the Simba squad, have trained for a couple of weeks, maybe have trained at club level for probably 2 to 3, 4, 5 weeks. And then now they've been told to don the national jersey and go on to take on the Ugandans. I don't know how the Ugandan league currently operates and when their timings are done, but I think we sort of have the same league format, if I'm not wrong.
Okay, we don't necessarily have the same league format, but we have the fixtures played within the same window. And the thinking, I
Yeah.
probably had mentioned it. Remember when we were discussing Safari Sevens a few weeks ago, and I had mentioned it and said that before the pandemic, the unions of Kenya and Uganda, of course, with the Elgon Cup in mind, with the Super Series in mind, had agreed to align their calendars so that they both end at the same time. And you see, it was about growing both countries in terms of their stature in the game by having a lot more cross-border competitions, starting with the Rugby Super Series, which would then lead up to the Elgon Cup. And therefore, the leagues would end around the same time, if not in March, in April, after which you sink into the Rugby Super Series and then the test period. Now, away from that, we have struggled, and probably there needs to be another meeting of heads, but that's for the custodians of the game in both Kenya and Uganda, because in as much as the two countries are rivals, they're also benefiting from each other in terms of these cross-border interactions. Even though I saw some people make some comments saying that we shouldn't be playing against Uganda in the Elgon Cup, and to which I posed and asked some of them, then that also means New Zealand should decline to play Australia in the Bledisloe Cup.
Yeah.
But that's to sidetrack the issue here. The issue here is about how we can get to synchronize. I think also get to raise the pedestal, to raise the profile of the Elgon Cup to what it used to be prior to the pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's good you brought it out clearly. Yes, the two nations have to agree on a better way of finding the best and the optimum levels for both teams to compete, and that would mean the competition standards go up. You then get to attract more in terms of the viewership and fans and all that. Once the quality and the brand of rugby goes up, and everything else goes up. So at the end of the day, like you've said, the custodians have to rethink, reseat, and restructure this. But anyway, we are here. We're talking about the first leg, a first leg that has a 2 point difference for Kenya over Uganda, a very slim advantage. And Michael, when we did the preview, you talked about going to Kampala and having your beer turning really, really sour after I mean, the Fly converted some penalty from halfway, and I have sort of a feeling that it's not gonna be the same this year. Remember last year they hosted first, we came in second. This year we've hosted first, so we're going in second. Our boys, like we've said, have been off season. They've played a few, I mean, closed door matches. Maybe they've then played one leg already. But one thing I know, the challenge in Uganda is going to be different. We are going there as underdogs. 27-25 is a realistic result, and the Ugandans would be licking their wounds, saying, "You know what? Last week we didn't get it right in Nairobi. We were away. I mean, under pressure. You know, we probably traveled with a bit of a bit of a hurry. You know, with the change of dates, it was really unsettling for everyone, really." And the Ugandans would say they have a shot in this, Michael. And I tend to think so because looking at that game now, let me take you back to the first leg in Nairobi. The Kenyans had a good maul. The Kenyans had a good scrum from the initial stages, and then did not capitalize on that, did not really get going. You know, Michael, I tend to, maybe there is a disconnect between how we play rugby and how international rugby is played, Michael. Michael, once you've scored a try, you go, you try and convert. This is now as we watch the international game unfold. Once a team has scored a try, they go back. They have to take part in the restart. They have to fill the restart well. They have to clear their lines and then go at now the opponent. Maybe if they find touch well and good, if they decide to keep it in, they also know they need to play away from their own danger or the red zones and all that. But Michael, we tend to not have control on the game. This is what I'm talking about. We don't have that control of, this is where we are, guys. This is who
You know,
we
Walter,
are. We,
Walter,
yes.
in the past 2 years or the past calendar year, away from the Africa Cup, Kenya has played Zambia, Uganda, and then it was Senegal and Algeria in Namibia in the Rugby Africa Cup. Basically,
Yeah.
those amounts are negligible if I take it back to the heady days of 2015, 2016, when the team played close to 10 test matches. The reason I say that is that I think you need a lot more matches at test level to get into your systems, because it doesn't make sense you playing probables versus possibles and then probably playing against Cabras Sugar next week and then heading out to an international assignment. So I do know that, yes, money is an issue, money is a challenge, but remember, some things come with planning. How about you start looking for these fixtures a year or two in advance? Because it's all about planning earlier and being able to source the funds. But again, like we said, the onus is back to the custodians uh, of the game. Yeah, I do agree with you that the team struggled to gel. Apart from those flashes of brilliance early on, wow, it was literally just hanging on a thread. That's what the Simbas looked like.
Yeah. Yeah, and you've rightly pointed it out. It's something that is a big bother. The Kenya Rugby Union has to look at the calendar year of all. The whole season, and decide how many test matches we need. We need collaborations with other unions, Michael. We need to reach out to uh, established and developed nations. We don't need their national teams. We need their, imagine competing with an emerging Springbok side, Michael, a very and let's even talk about the junior Springbok. Sometimes it's never hard for us to accept this bit, but going up against a junior Springbok side is just like same as going up against a Springbok side, and it's a challenging task altogether. So at the end of the day, those are the caliber of games. I don't care if they're under 23s or whatever. Just play against an established side.
Yeah,
Talk to these unions.
yeah,
Ask them for exchange programs. Ask them for opportunities for our local boys to go out there. That is what you'd
absolutely.
expect of us.
Yeah, so I'd like
So,
to,
so
we sound more like we are governance experts instead of like talking about the game. Yeah, so I think let's steer the conversation back to the game, because yes, these are the frustrations of every Tom, Dick, and Harry who's followed the Simbas over the last 10 years. But back to the game, the
yeah,
flashes of brilliance. I think Hilary Odhiambo, the guy we said we don't give him his flowers that much, I think had he was quietly effective as usual. Brian Wahinya, his moments of brilliance stood out. Other than that, whoa, it was really, to say disjointed would be polite, but it is what it is.
I think I saw more of a convinced Uganda side that they could do this. They were running
Absolutely,
their move.
absolutely.
They were running their moves through our midfield. They were putting our scrums under serious pressure. They actually were they had 100% line out recovery, Michael. They had the confidence. They are big boys who came off the bench, who are really, really putting our boys under pressure. Big carries here and there, giving away penalties. And it's perfectly balanced for next week, Michael. It's wake up time for Kenya. I mean, there is nothing they can do apart from going to Kampala, exerting themselves, silencing the home crowd, and going on with their business as they intend to do. I don't think there's anything else they can do.
Agreed. However, away from the disjointed nature of, in my opinion, the Simba's performance, there was some brilliant tries. Brian Wahinya scored some great tries. He
Yeah,
looked to be in control. Scored two brilliant tries, sniping. It was really interesting to see the tiniest man at the end of the rolling maul. Remember when he scored his first try, and then the second one
yeah,
when he really just cut through the Ugandan defenders to touchdown,
yeah,
not taking away
yeah.
anything from the Ugandans, and they equally scored two great tries through Pius Ogena, picking that ball at the base of the scrum. His change of direction to score under the post, that was great. And then brilliance from Aaron Ofoiruoth to bring in Innocent Gotko. That was typical Aaron Ofoiruoth stuff.
Yeah, it was really good to watch, and I no, this is what we expect. I expect Uganda to settle in early. I expect Uganda to entertain us. I know this year you're not going to Kampala, Michael, so I'll represent you. So all you need to do is just make sure you send Nile special money.
I will
Nile
spend money
special
for
money.
next special. And I'll give you a few plugs. I'll give you some plugs. I will introduce you to some people. Some people. You see, I
Yes,
have a Ugandan accent.
Banange.
Yeah.
You need to introduce me to some people.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
so
will.
we're looking forward
And
to that,
also,
Michael. Yes.
sorry, I want to give a shout out to my good friend. Of course, he plays for Uganda, Ivan Magomu. He's probably going to sit this out, but he's a top man. He's a top man. And they are Redo brothers, Gabi and Joe and Era. They're top guys. So anyway, salamu from Kenya. But back to what you were saying.
Really, yeah. So I'm now thinking about the second leg, Michael. I've seen the national Simbas have named a team. They've just dropped Obat for Hilary Manjilwa, most probably looking at their exploits last week at scrum time and thinking about having a big body through come through in this case. I don't expect much because they've not done so many changes to this. I expect. I mean, a coach having made a decision in the first leg to probably stick with most of his choices and maybe ease in a few individuals here and there. I also had to look at. I mean, for those guys who are off the bench and came in and made I mean, um a telling contribution, something that would give the coach some thoughts going into the second leg. I don't think there's any notable guy who came off the bench to really change that game. So maybe the coach would now definitely have to work with most of selection that he made last week. Now, one thing he needs to correct within the 7 days, though, Michael, is something called discipline. There is no way around Kenya Simba's changing their disciplined approach towards playing rugby, and
Absolutely.
yeah. So I think one week
We,
for the
you
boys
know,
to soul search and decide. Yes,
the Kenyans are just lucky that the Ugandans had a bad day with the boot.
yes,
Missing, there was a time they missed 9 successive points of a series of
yes,
Kenyan errors. And you
yes.
cannot afford to do that in a high stakes game. Any game against Uganda is a high stakes. Forget what the naysayers. we'll talk about. Any game is high stakes, and let me tell you, playing at Kings Park Arena, you're playing before a very partisan crowd. You know, it's like really it's a proper rugby venue. The fans are really in your face. You feel the atmosphere, and the Kenyans have not won a game last year. They've not won a game there. Remember, they lost last year by 21 points to 20, and they must do their best this time round in that atmosphere. And key to that, away from all your tactical prowess, it will be discipline. And I recall reading online that George Nyambua was actually not pleased with his charges, citing the indiscipline from the boys in the performance against Uganda in the first leg. And I'm sure it will not be lost upon them to be disciplined first of all before going to conquer the Ugandans. Because if you give the Ugandans an inch, they are definitely going to take a mile. And playing at home before that crowd at Kings Park Arena, yeah.
Yes, Michael, I agree with you. And I had a conversation with the captain post match, and the sentiments were all out there for everyone to see. He talked about the discipline, and I feel like it's an opportunity for them to go back and think about how to handle this coming weekend's game and decide entirely on what to do, which makes a lot of sense for them to decide to change their discipline approach going into this game. Someone else, I think, if he's fully fit, is an addition for the day. Is Builder Dogeta, a solid, strong addition, and I believe this would offer an opportunity for Builder to come in and try and see if he can be able to cover match, because he was in very good form for the national team last year, and I believe having started off the bench last week, maybe this week he has something in place for him.
Absolutely. And as you can see on our screen there, the 25-man Simbas squad that is heading to Kampala. Obat Kuke misses out because of academic commitments. He's sitting his exams at the Kenyatta University, where he studies and plays for Black Blood. Hilary Mwanjilo brought in, obviously, like you said, obviously just looking to steady that Kenyan front row. And away from that, I think I would like to see Jone Kubu start this game, because I feel that he will be a lot more effective from a starter's position, especially at number 10. You need a lot more control there, and I think Jone Kubu will be tasked with carrying the Simbas on his shoulders.
Yes, Michael. John Kubo, strongly believe, like you said, uh, his his attributes are very good when he is on the pitch. Getting him 2 3 minutes, I don't think is a good thing. But anyway, he's back from injury. The coaches also have to make a decision in terms of his wellness and his readiness in terms of match day activities. So yeah, if he is added onto the team, he definitely will bring in something different for the Ugandans to think about. And it's good you've brought it up. We need to throw a few of our spanners into the works so that the Ugandans can also have something to chew on. I thought Barry had a good game, yes, but we need an X factor through the middle. And John Kubu would definitely bring that on match day. And I believe if he's fully fit and ready to go, he'll definitely stand up and be counted for the Simbas.
Yeah, definitely. So the squad, this is the traveling squad that has been named. We do expect the match day 23 to be named probably on Friday after the captain's run. It will be interesting to see who gets a looking into Jerome Parota's match day squad. I will be particularly, for me, looking at that number 10 position, because like I said, you just need the flair of Johnny Kubu right from the get-go to deal against the exuberant Ugandans. Walter, you're looking forward to the trip to Uganda away from the rugby?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am, Michael. I am. Thing is, we have the kickoff of the nationwide league locally. Have Stallions and Rugby on the Road and Kisii are playing. However, because we have a very long season, I might miss out on opening day for my three beloved teams. But I'll be able to go to Kampala, hopefully watch the game, and then be back next week, Michael. So I'm looking forward to the trip to Uganda.
Awesome. We will be following it online and giving you the updates. This has been another edition of 254 Rugby, episode 14. It has been great. Shout out to everybody who's watching, everybody who shares their comments, and thank you for supporting and sharing this. You are the reason that we do this. So just continue liking, sharing, and getting to subscribe. Walter, what do you have to say as we come to a close?
Well, I just want to wish the Kenya Simbas a successful outing, and definitely wish all rugby lovers out there who follow us a great, great outing. I know you have international teams you support. Some of them lost last week. Big shout out to the Wallabies and the fan base who have not won anything for the longest time. I mean, beating England was something for them, Michael. And yeah, have a great weekend, guys, and definitely looking forward to seeing you guys next week.